What up, guys? What up, what up? Good morning, December 8th. Got a really good video in store for you here. We got big stuff to talk about with Q. We've got MK Ultra in the news. We've got Earth's magnetic pole shifting also in the news. We've got sound waves levitating things. It's going to be a really, really good one. So let's get started digging into Q first. And we're going to start with yesterday's morning post right here, 2562. And Q is linking a video from Fox News saying, interesting music for Fox News, sound familiar. So that is this little minute-and-a-half video that Fox put out on their website talking about the Clinton Foundation whistleblowers ready to come forward, Representative Meadows says. And the music that was in this video is the same music that was in a documentary called Clinton Cash. Clinton Cash. That documentary was outing the Clintons, so really peculiar, no coincidences that music is now in this Fox News video saying that the Clinton Foundation is about to go down. Q asking here, why all of a sudden are people talking about the Clinton Foundation, including whistleblowers and hidden company, that's MDA Analytics, established to investigate covertly, staffed with a bunch of ex-three-letter agency criminal investigators. Why all of a sudden are people talking about it now? Well, because stuff is about to hit the fan. Would you go public if the investigation was still ongoing? What happens when you have enough evidence to proceed? Well, now the investigation phase is basically over. That's why the makers of QMap.pub here titled this drop, "The Clinton Foundation investigation is complete." Now there's enough evidence to proceed to the justice phase. What is the benefit of educating the public prior to proceeding? Well, to basically warn them, let them know that stuff is about to hit that fan. So these whistleblowers are coming out now. These reports are coming out now just to prepare us, just to let us know that these next couple weeks are going to get fun. So I'm excited. Now we're going to talk about a huge Q proof that happened yesterday, and this was funny. So Q linking a tweet from a handle Civ Mill Air. This Twitter page often tracks plane, a lot of plane data going around. And this Twitter account was noticing that the Air Force One, so Donald Trump was on Air Force One going from Washington, D.C. to Kansas City, Missouri yesterday, and the call sign. So a call sign is what they designate planes for air traffic control to call them with, call sign. The call sign for Air Force One yesterday was Q0. Q0. Are there any frickin' coincidences anymore? Q0. And then Q was letting us know, where is the plus on a mobile phone when dialing? So if you're dialing on a mobile phone, the plus is under the 0. You have to hit 0 for the plus. So really, the call sign yesterday was Q+. Who is Q+? Donald Trump. We've established that already. So literally, Donald Trump basically putting his own name, for lack of a better term, as the call sign for Air Force One yesterday. So truly trolling the fake news media is fun. It's so hilarious what they're doing here. At some point, the Q will be asked, the question about Q. Next post, Q saying operators are active. Operations going on right now. I take that to mean. And then the last one here, scot-free equals where we go one, we go all. Scot-free was that proof, that Q incidents that we noted the other day. Q0 equals Q+. At what point will they wake up truly? All these detractors, all these non-believers out there, at what point will they get it? How many of these do they need for them to start making these connections and seeing the big picture? I don't know. Some people still need more, so heck, keep giving them more. Q, I'm all for it. All right, now let's move on to talking about a New York Times correspondent putting out a really peculiar tweet yesterday. So this was it right here. This New York Times correspondent, I'm not even going to try to say that name because I know I'll butcher it, but she tweeted Q. Look at that. Literally a tweet. Q. Tweeted it at about 3 p.m. yesterday. Wow. And then she goes to cover herself a little bit saying, sorry guys, just another pocket tweet on a phone that refuses to lock properly. Time for a new phone. ... Really? Huh? Pocket tweet. That's a new one. Never heard of that before. You know, in fact, let's try it. Let's try pocket tweeting here. So let's go through how many taps and swipes it takes to actually tweet Q. So if I'm on a dark blank screen phone right now, this requires a tap to light it up, a swipe, and I need a tap to get into Twitter, and I need a tap to get into the tweet, and then I need a really, really specific tap right there to hit the Q. Like that is what is like that's not many pixels. You know, if you got fat fingers, it's not gonna work. So you have to get really specific with that Q there. Then you got to hit tweet. So what is that? Like 4 or 5 taps and a swipe there? Yeah, I'm not buying that. Pocket tweet my ass. I don't know, really peculiar. Who knows? Was she trying to troll and just be facetious and arrogant about it? Was she actually putting a Q out there because she maybe closet believes in it and she wants people to look into it? I don't know. Whatever the case is, pocket tweet my ass. But hey, that's interesting. New York Times correspondent right there tweeting a Q. Okay, next thing, last stuff on Q we'll discuss, and we'll get into the other articles that we'll move quickly through. So this weekend, we have the American Priority Conference going on in Washington, D.C. If you remember, this is the conference that was going to hold the panel on QAnon. They invited me, and they invited a couple other folks, Dustin Nemos, and then Craig from Just Informed Talk YouTube channel. They invited us to go there for that QAnon panel. But about a month ago, the organizers, the conference itself, American Priority Conference, they were taking a lot of flack, a lot of heat in the media for that QAnon panel, so they had to cancel it. And I decided not to go. You know, I was contemplating, do I still want to go to this conference even though they're not holding the Q panel? I was thinking about it, but I decided to stay home just to relax for a little bit and be home. But I'm kind of bummed right now. I wish I would have gone, and this is why. So Politico and this tweet right here reporting on it, Anthony Scaramucci basically told a couple attending the American Priority Conference today that QAnon is real. Quote, when you find out who I wouldn't say he, rather they behind Q, but anyway, when you find out who he is, you're not going to believe it. Let's take a look at that Politico article that this excerpt is from. Wild theories and empty seats at CPAC-style conference for the MAGA set. Talk of Q, George Soros, and a bunch of other stuff. So look at this right here. Anthony Scaramucci addressing a married couple from Virginia, telling them that the author of Q has been dead accurate on so many things, and when you find out who he is, you're not going to believe it. Anthony Scaramucci then went to cover himself a little bit, say basically that, he tried to claim that he wasn't talking about Q and, plausible deniability. I understand. But this married couple, off record, I don't think they all, even Scaramucci, realized there were some reporters around, said that, yeah, he was basically talking about Q. So, holy moly, guys. Holy frickin' moly. We've got more confirmations coming, and I'm sure that Q is going to be asked very soon because all this stuff is still going on. And I'm wondering, with Scaramucci's connections, what he might know, of course, and what he might be let in on. So, very peculiar. And shout out to Dustin Nemos as well. He got a feature in this article. Where was it? There he is. Dustin Nemos, an amateur conspiracy theorist. Screw you, Politico. Dustin's cool. Said conference organizers pulled his speaking slot after discovering he was a devotee of Q. So there you go. Interesting things going on at that American Priority Conference. I wish I would have been there for, but it's good to hang out at home for a little bit. All right, so that's everything I wanted to talk about in regards to Q. Let's move on to the rest of the articles. So Liz Crokin reporting here on her Twitter, as the entire mainstream media was distracted with whatever's been going on the past couple days, especially the Russian collusion hoax, President Trump signed into bill a law that forces convicted child sex traffickers to pay restitution to their victims. Very good news here. This is that bill signed in yesterday, ordering mandatory restitution against a defendant who is convicted for trafficking in child pornography. This is very important. These sorts of bills, they might seem small time, but really they are massive, because when all these deep state bad actors start getting into that justice phase, we need bills like this just to cover all the bases, so they're not able to squeak out of any little loopholes that might not be covered, okay? So bills like this, very important, very big news with this one. Now we're moving on to MK Ultra. So this going viral yesterday new MK Ultra documents being uncovered and being reported in the mainstream media. Okay, so all right, let's cover what was uncovered. Let's cover what was uncovered in these new MK Ultra documents. Really wasn't all that much. It just showed that they were also doing some animal experimentation along with human experimentation. It's cool that more stuff is coming out. It's good to see that it's going into the mainstream media. A lot more people are going to start becoming privy to these issues, start researching into it. So that's great. But like I've been saying lately, remember that idea of a limited hangout. Really quickly, a limited hangout occurs. It's basically spy jargon for when the veil of secrecy begins to be shredded, right? The cover story is failing. Then what they'll do, whether it's the deep state or the intelligence community, whatever the case is, what they'll do is offer up a little bit of truth just to distract people, just to pacify them, and brush a lot of the other more deeper, darker, hard-hitting facts, hard-hitting truths under the rug. So be really careful. When I see Newsweek reporting stuff like this, when I see outlets like the Daily Beast and others reporting what used to be conspiratorial content as truth, then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is great, but what aren't they telling you? What they're not telling you is oftentimes more important than what they are telling you, okay? So yeah, we get a little bit of truth coming out about MK Ultra and these FOIA requests that are uncovering more documents about it. Great, but what aren't they telling us, right? There's often a lot more there. So make note of that. Whenever you see stuff like this hit the mainstream media, whether it's MK Ultra, whether it's UFO stories, whether it's even, human trafficking, you got to make sure that they're telling all of it, not a little bit of it, to hide the rest. See what I'm saying? I'll do a lot more stuff on the idea of limited hangouts and partial disclosures in the very near future, because it's a very important topic to be covering right now. The deep state wants that limited hangout. They're especially pulling it in the UFO realm and the technology, free energy technology realm. So very important to understand what a limited hangout is and what it looks like. Next, massive solar flare to bring chaos and inflict $2 trillion in damage. Bank's outrageous prediction. So again, last few weeks we're getting articles on this solar flare topic reiterated. And on one hand, yes, we're expecting, we're actually exiting a solar minimum, getting into an uptick in solar activity. And not only that, but we're expecting what could be called a quantum shift in our sun, stellar evolution. So there's a lot of space weather information to get very educated about, okay? But on the other hand, the deep state, they want any excuse they can get to cut communication systems if they need to, right? Oh God, this information is coming out, or the mass arrests are occurring, or whatever the case is. They want whatever plausible, deniable claim they can use to cut social media, to cut communication systems, to cause a blackout. So there you go. Just understand the nuances behind all of this, okay? It's a very complicated situation. We're expecting more solar flares. We're expecting a massive shift in our sun, right? That has everything to do with the pole shifts that we'll talk about with this next article. But also understand, deep state cover story. Be very careful there. All right, let's get into those pole shifts. So this coming out on phys.org, mainstream science reporting right here, Earth's magnetic poles could start to flip. What happens then, they ask. And this is amazing to see. In fact, these same articles were coming out in the mainstream media like probably 4 months ago. I think it was back in July or August. They were doing reports on this back then, and they're doing another round of magnetic pole stories right here. So this is fascinating. This pole shift, it's happened before. It happens in cycles. It's going to happen again. Right now, we're watching our poles, our magnetic poles of this Earth already shift, and they're moving exponentially faster and faster every year. So it's truly imminent. Our Earth's magnetic pole shift is imminent. And this pole shift goes hand in hand with that quantum solar shift that I was talking about. Truly, you've got to really look into all the galactic cycles that are all lining up right now and the effects of these galactic cycles. We're talking about solar shifts, we're talking about Earth shifts, we're talking about even our own shifts of consciousness and DNA, etc., etc. Only so much I can say about all of that in like 2 minutes here about talking about this article, but again, very important stuff, and it's cool to see come out in the mainstream media. But again, what aren't they telling us? There's a lot of causes behind all this they aren't telling us, and blah, blah, blah. So more on that coming up in the future. Next to last article here, scientists levitate objects by just pointing at them. Sound waves are used for the first time to control movement of tiny beads through the air. Wow. This is big. Levitation, using sound waves to literally alter matter. Huge disclosures here. But at the same time, is this the first time it's ever been done? I would venture to guess not. What's really been done in the black projects the last 50, 60, 70 years, So we have a lot of technology. I was just talking about limited hangouts, and then I mentioned the technology a minute ago. We've got a lot of information coming out into the public domain right now about these sorts of what look to be groundbreaking technologies. Zero-point energy, wireless electricity transmission. We've got, the ionic thruster drive or whatever was on that plane that came out a few weeks ago. Sound waves levitating things. This is all what used to be considered pseudoscience. Now it's not pseudoscience anymore. It's coming out into the mainstream. But again, what's been really done in the black projects for a long, long time? Those true sciences, true physics, all the stuff we get in the mainstream, all this standard model physics stuff is all mostly BS, Bad fundamentals, bad foundations. All this coming out now, wow. But it's coming out now. They're not telling us that this has been done in secret for a long, long time. So, again, awesome to see come out in the mainstream, but what aren't they telling you? A lot of stuff they're not telling you here. And very last thing, kind of switching gears from all this space and technology stuff, but just something I do want to make a note on. Frickin' bee vaccines. Are you kidding me? Could the world's first bee vaccine save honeybees? Edible drug can protect the insects from killer infections. I just wanted to tell you guys that this is absolutely bullshit. What's really harming the bees? Well, glyphosate. All the chemicals we're frickin' spraying into our environment. That's what's really ruining the bee populations and threatening our biosphere. Now they're wanting to claim a bee vaccine is going to save honeybees. Oh my God. Vaccines harm humans. You really think a vaccine is going to save the honeybees? No. BS. Want to make that known. And please, don't spray Roundup. Don't spray glyphosate into the environment. Just pull the weeds around your house. It's not that tough. It's good exercise. Gets you outside a little bit. You don't need Roundup. Truly. Save our planet. All those little decisions, all those little choices you make. In the long run, collectively, if we all make those decisions and those good choices, makes a world of a difference. So, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. December 8th, 2018. I'll be back a little bit later today. Probably do a live video and be reporting on a lot more stuff. So thank you. Thank you for all your support. And take care, guys. See ya.